Hello gang and welcome, it's Delty from DeltyisGaming.com, here to do a video on the Champion System. As you see the screen, the Champion System looks incredibly complex and daunting, which to some of you maybe it was to me at first. The entire purpose of this video is to make a simple introduction guide to the Champion System covering the basics, how to earn them, what you can do with them, why is the Champion System important to you, to the constellations, and maybe some basic tips and some passives that I found are really important to have. Regardless if you're new to the game or you're a pro, you want to get updated on the Champion System, and this video is going to help you do that. Stay tuned, we got a lot to cover. So this video I'm taking is from the public test server. Currently I'm testing 1.6.4. This video and the content I make is during the public testing phase. My site, DeltyisGaming.com, has all the constellations and updated information, as I can't go back in time and edit this. So if you're new to the Champion System, if you're like me, logged into PTS, basically no clue, clicking buttons, seeing what's going on, and I'm at the help screen here. If you're new to the Champion System, really there's only 3 tabs that Elder Scrolls Online gives you. If you're reading this ESO, you need to hire me to do your guides. So basically the first couple points, the Champion System is an alternate advancement system similar to other games. I played Warhammer Online and they had something like this called Renown Points, which is basically a long-term progression thing. So in other games you hit endgame and what is there to do? Well, there's not really much because you've hit that level cap. Not in Elder Scrolls Online. Currently, that's basically all that happens, but now with the Champion System, you're going to earn account-wide experience is basically what it is. An account-wide champion points, or CP. These points are used to advance your individual character. So why is that important to you? This is really interesting, because if you play right now, any experience you accrue from Veteran Rank 1 to Veteran Rank 14 will count towards your champion points. If you go up in the top left corner here, this is your veteran rank or your character's rank, and then your champion points rank. So it tells you how many experience points you're earning towards getting your next champion points. Currently there's 0 to 3,600 champion points. To give you an idea and put some perspective behind that, one champion point right now during testing takes about 2 hours to get, 2 to 3 depending on how fast, what you're doing, that sort of thing. So with 3,600 champion points, you would literally need to spend about 7,000 hours or 300 days in game to get all these points. So it gives you something to do for a very, 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 very long time. And that's good because if you're me, you play alts, and the champion points are account bound. So if I play my Templar one day who's VR9, and let's say I get a champion point with questing with him, and I get on my Sork who is a VR11, those champion points and that experience that I earned with that Sork or that Templar will transfer to my Sork. It's account bound. The important thing is this is the next part in their phasing, getting rid of veteran rank system and making an account bound champion point based system. So that's why it's important to you, because this applies to all your characters and your entire count. So next I want to get into how these are earned. Champion points are a certain number, I think 400,000 roughly. I can't even see because I'm on a character that has fully maxed out champion points. But I wanted to talk about some general tips to getting champion points. It sounds simple, but you just need to do stuff. Yes, I know, do stuff. That's pretty obvious, right? But what I'm getting at is there's so many quests to do in the game and things that you may have skipped over that are going to be advantageous for you to go back and do. Right now, I think a dungeon rewards a pretty decent amount. Look at that. Even discovering a way shrine gave me 700. So think in terms of leveling. You need to do quest. Now, where do you get quests from? Most people don't understand that Craghorn has probably 20 or so daily repeatable dungeons and quests in lower and upper. So if you're looking to do quests, Craghorn's a great place. It's PvE, so you don't have to worry about other players. Speaking of other players, you got Cyrodiil. Cyrodiil has 5 daily hubs. Here's one over here that have 10 quests each. That's 50 daily quests. Not to mention your Undaunted quest, Dragonstar Arena, getting those achievements. All these quests and types of experiences are going to help you in your quest to get more and more champion points. PvP, if you're killing other players, you're going to get experience points just like you would previously. When you hit endgame, there's really no point to do it, but now we have to rewire our brains and think, okay, And what am I doing is it advantageous to do? For me personally, it doesn't seem like Cyrodiil and PvP is that fast in terms of getting champion progression. However, doing the quest are. So your kill quest, you get 4 of them a day that can be done. The Elder Scrolls quest, that sort of thing. So if you're a PvPer, look to do that. And also stop by the daily HUDs. If you can load up a couple and clear some delves, some dolmens, even things you didn't even think were reasonable to do. Even exploration. Those things are going to reward you experience points to get those needed champion points. So for me, what am I going to do? How am I going to play? How am I going to optimize my time? I think there's some really fast and easy dailies to do. The 2 obvious ones are the dungeons. The veteran dungeons are probably the fastest, and the non-vet actually are a little bit slower. So I can do those vets and get a good group, take 15-20 minutes to get that done. I can go into Cyrodiil, get those 4 kill quests, get those done within a couple hours. Boom, I'm looking at 5 quests completed. Now if I go around and do some crafting writs, I go do some Craglorn quest, I go do maybe some story quests and maybe Rivenspire that I didn't complete because it was part of Cowell's Gold and there was really no reason for me to complete it at an endgame. All these things now are worth doing. That's how you earn champion points. So earning champion points, there's a caveat. There's also something called enlightenment. If you've ever played another MMO before, it's kind of like rested XP. It's a way to give people that don't play that often kind of an advantage or boost for being offline. So for me, I play all the time. You guys know that. So if someone plays 10 hours a day, the other person that logs off for 24 hours will basically get a boost the next, I don't know, 5 hours they play. They'll get easier boosted XP essentially. So it's a way for them to get caught up, if you will, in the champion system, to not get left behind. So that's why it's really important. Another thing about champion points you gotta understand is you're going to see there's going to be a gap between the person that starts tomorrow and the person that's played for 10 years. Now, why is that? Well, first of all, because they have to keep you going on a treadmill. You have to keep progressing your character, and this is a year-long progression. So I like it personally. For some of those, you're going to be like, well, how can I get caught up? Well, to be honest with you, there's diminishing returns. What that means is each champion point you spend in one particular area gets harder and harder and harder to increase it. So the person with 3,000 champion points, say, is not going to be that much better than someone with 2,500 or so on. So 100, 150, something like that. Yes, they'll be better, but it's not going to be a gigantic amount. Now, the person with 1 champion point and the person with 3,000 are going to be just miles and miles apart. That's just part of it. It's not fair to say, you know, I worked at a business for a week and I expect the same salary as someone who's been there 30 years and has the same education. It's just not going to happen. So earning champion points, you want to get in, you want to start now. Speaking of starting now, if you're veteran rank 14, by the time this launches, which is, in a week or so, you'll get about 70 to start with. So I'm going to show you how to use that and what to even spend champion points on. Because I've been talking about them, you guys don't even see it yet. So let's talk about champion points, how to spend them. So let's say update 6 has gone live and you got your champion point and oh my god, you're ready to be super powerful and you're all excited. First thing you notice that you have basically a couple new things on your user interface menu. Crown Store, I'm not going to get to that, that's my other video. Inventory, blah blah blah, bang, champion points. It has a little exclamation point basically telling you, hey knucklehead, you need to spend some champion points. So you click this, and boom, it goes you to this huge, super complex, oh my god, what do I do here interface. Now I want to clear my champion points, start out fresh. Okay, so let me explain a couple things. You got green, red, and blue. You notice those, right? So what is green? Green is like your utility area, the thief. And this has 3 separate things in it, 3 separate trees. So you have a constellation, then you have trees. The reason why I bring this up is every champion point you get, you have to spend in one of these 3 areas. So let's say you get 60 champion points, you have to spend 20 in the green, 20 in the blue, 20 in the red. So that's why it matters to you. The warrior is the red, it has the steed, the lady, the lord. I'm going to show you all these in a second. Then I have the thief, the tower, the lover, the shadow, and then finally the mage. So you have the apprentice, Atronach, ritual. So as you know, I'm highlighting this, you hear that sound, you click on it to go inside of the menu. And then you can actually start spending points on stuff. So let's just say we wanted to reduce the stamina cost of spells and abilities. 1 point, confirm. Oh, that's a lot of gold. Now we've spent a champion point. Same thing. So if you want to spend a point here and go back out, you right click it to go back out and wheel around. You can also kind of put your arrow over here and go that way. Hopefully no one gets dizzy here. So the important thing to realize when you're spending your champion points after you earn them is that, one, you're going to get them in order. So you're going to have blue, red, green. I don't know what the order starts as, but you're going to have 3 separate pools. You can see your available champion points here. So don't think that if you get 200 points, you can just spend it all in blue in one super powerful area. It's a way to keep you busy and to keep your points diverse and a way to kind of diversify your character. The thing is, though, if you want to spend all of your points within one blue tree, you can, which is something I recommend, and I'm going to explain why in a bit. So hypothetically, we're starting this champion system with most of us 75 points for those that are 70. Yeah, 70 for those that have a VR14. And so you're going to get roughly 24, 23 champion points to start, which is really important. And I'm going to show you why. So, in terms of champion points, we're going to go into each constellation. I'm going to talk about each individual thing a little bit, but first I want to show you something really important. Let's say you go into this champion point system, okay? There's basically 4 things, only 4 that you can spend points on, but you notice there's 8 little dots. What are the 8 dots? Every 10, 30, 75 and 120 points that you spend in this tree, you get a passive. So they unlock sequentially. So meaning if you get that 10 and you get the 30, they keep adding on. So for instance, if I wanted to send, let's say 10 points here, that lights up. See, now I have that passive. So increase the damage from next physical attack by 15% after you interrupt a target. So if I confirm that point, it unlocks that. See, it's getting even more complex. So let's say I wanted to spend some more points and get that 30. Now I can either spend them 5 here, 5 here, then 20 or 10 or whatever. I can get them that way. So, the way I'm looking at this is you really want to get the 120 point mark right away for each tree. The reason why, these are your major interesting buffs. They can really change things for your character. So we're going to get to each of these, and that's what we're going to cover next. The first of the 3 constellations we're going to go over is the Warrior. The Warrior is like the defensive tree of the 3 constellations, or red. So what it has in here is the Steed, the Lady, and the Lord. This is one of the points you're going to want to put into if you're a defensive-minded player. And also there's a lot of added bonuses for PvP in these trees, like resistance to critical, and some of the 120 point skills are absolutely mind-blowing. So, the Warrior, defensive. Think about that first. The first tree we're going to go into is the Lord. The Lord is like your damage bubble shield type thing, and also health and vitality. So there's 4 active things you can put points into, each that goes range from 0 points to 100, giving 400 total points per tree in a constellation. So do the math, 1200 per constellation, 3600 in total. So first one is Bastion, increases the effectiveness of damage absorbing effects. So if you're like a Sork and maybe use Hardened Ward for your main source of protection, this might be really good. Quick Recovery increases the effectiveness of healing received by 15.8% at max. That's great for tanks if you're trying to, make your healer's life a little bit easier. Now pair this up with the Argonian passive of 6%. You have a monster Argonian self-healing machine. Heavy Armor Focus increases your armor by 13% when wearing heavy armor. Obviously a tank-minded thing. And then Nourish increases the effectiveness of healing potions by 25%. Now that does apply to tripods, so that would be really interesting in a PvP focused build, maybe even a Nightblade Argonian. So these are the 4 active that you can put into increasing your character's performance, and these are the passives. So these unlock at 10, 30, 75, and 120. And what I mean by that is, let me respec my points here, is that let's say I put 2 here, 2 here, 6 here, and it unlocks this. So as I keep going, I keep unlocking these, and they become more and more powerful, hypothetically. So what I recommend to do when you're starting out is invest solely in one tree in the red and the green and the blue, because you want to get the 120 point passive first before moving on to other trees. So the very first one is reduce damage received while resurrecting another player. Great for PvP. The next one is increases another player's magic regeneration by 244 after you resurrect them. So if you pop them up, bang, you're going to take less damage, they're going to get back up, and they're going to get in the fight right away. Absorbs 1200 damage for 5 seconds after you're resurrected. That's pretty powerful. And then absorbs 1500 damage for 15 seconds after drinking a potion. So let's see what these look like. So I'm going to dump just all the points in here. And you can shift and left and roll your mouse wheel up is how you put them in fast. So let's just check out this determination bubble after I drink a potion. Got my handy dandy potions. Bang. And look, it procs that bubble, and you can see it in my health bar. How cool is that? So these 120 champion point passives are very important, and this is the first one. Next up, we have the Lady. The Lady reduces damage you take from damage over time effects. Not bad, but not the best kind of passive. Light armor focus. This is good if you're a light armor user and you need a little more protection. Elemental Defender reduces flame, frost, shock damage. This would be good if you're a vampire in PvP and don't like get sprayed with oils. Hardy reduces damage to disease, poison, and magic. Maybe you're a werewolf and you go in werewolf form. This is something you put points into. Now, this is a really important PvP tree. Reason being is the first passive restores 144 health when you are hit by a critical attack. NPCs don't critical, only players do. So, this is a tree you want to invest in if you're heavily into PvP, because that 30 point thing here is really going to help you out. I skipped over the first one. Spell Absorption. Restores basically 3000 magic when you take flame, blah blah blah, equivalent to 30% of your max health. This is amazing. Even with a 10% cooldown, this is one of the most important passives in the game to keep you in the fight, keep you casting spells. Critical Leech, another really important one. After critically striking a target, restore 320 health. As you can see, having Resilience and Critical Leech both are going to be really important for a PvP character. So you're getting health back for doing crits and then receiving them. Unchained, one of the best 120 point abilities, reduces the stamina cost of abilities by 8% for 3 seconds after breaking free of a stun, knockdown, fear, disorientation, or stagger. So it's kind of like a way to attack an enemy right after you get stunned. Even with the 3 second cooldown or the 3 second only window, this is super important. Maybe you need to, pop a movable up again within 3 seconds so you're not stunned immediately after your 5 second cooldown. Maybe you need to use rapid maneuvers to get out of there. Maybe you need to use elude so you don't insta-die. Anything here that costs stamina is worth doing. Next up, we have the Steed. This is medium armor focus, so some stamina-based users that need a little more protection would want to go here. Resistance. This is awesome. Reduces the amount of damage you take from critical hits. So this, in combination with impenetrable gear, is really vastly important in PvP. Now, we did some testing with it. You still probably want to invest in this if you're a PvP player. Primarily, if you do just PvE, stay away from this. Spell Shield. Increases spell resistance, even awesome for tank. Block Expert reduces the cost of blocking by up to 25%. That is vastly important for tanks and even anyone, because you can mitigate damage and not have your stamina zapped. Really important passive. The first one here gives you a 20% chance to restore 720 health when you bash an enemy. Invaluable for tanks. After you dodge roll, your armor and spell resistance is increased by 640 for 3 seconds. As a stamina-based damage dealer, my primary defense is dodge rolling. This would be a huge passive for me to get. Increases the armor and spell resistance of equipped shields by 75. Amazing for sword and board tanks. And then reinforced. When activating a block, gain a damage shield for 1500 every 10 seconds. Let's see what that looks like. I wonder if I have to be in sword and shield to get it to proc. I've seen someone else do these before. There it is. Look at that damage shield. Now that's a 120 point passive. That's pretty damn powerful. Because you can proc it even out of combat. So before you start a fight, it has a 10-second cooldown. I hope you guys don't mind that. Come on, dude. Wow, that's a cool passive. Next up, we have the Thief Constellation. This is all about regeneration and sustained, and also some utility things. And here we got the tower. Well, so this is basically stamina and make you more efficient. The lover, another regeneration type thing, and then the shadow. So maybe sneaking around, that type of thing. So this is a tree you want to invest in for regeneration, sustainability, and then also has some kind of unique little things in here. So we're going to go over that. First tree up is the Shadow. So you got Tumbling. Reduces the stamina cost of Rule Dodge and Break Free by up to 18%. Another awesome PvP thing, but really any stamina-based user that needs some defensive, dodge rolling is your primary means to get the heck out. And so this I can see being a really valuable passive to have. Elusive. Reduces the damage from all snares, fears, and disorienting effects to you by up to 24%. Once again, CC keeps you out of the fight, and if the longer you can be in the fight and reduce those durations, the better. Defile increases the effectiveness of healing reduction abilities by 0%. So increases the healing effectiveness of healing reduction abilities by 33%. This goes well with like a lethal arrow or a dark flare or some heal debuff, if you will. So I think in combination with the heal debuffs, the major and the minor ones that are in the game right now, plus this passive, you can really eliminate the healing that other players can receive. It's the whole meta of PvP in patch 1.5. So this is an awesome passive if you like the lethal arrow sniper. Shades. Reduces stamina cost while moving in stealth. That's a pretty good one, and you can combine that with the new Justice System passive, increasing it by 40% more too. So the passives in here increases the amount of gold you find in treasure chests by 50%. Not that valuable. Reduces the cost of armor repairs. Not that valuable. Increases quality of items you find in treasure chests. Not that valuable. After killing a target with the heavy attack, enter stealth for 2.5 seconds. That's pretty cool. So I don't know if there's an enemy around here that we can try this out at. Maybe like a little chicken or something. But that would be really powerful for someone who wants to play the sneak rogue archetype. Let's see if we can't find a little critter. Oh, there's a little critter. Oh my god, am I gonna die? I'm gonna die from fall damage. Oh, 14%, thank god. Alright, so let's see if it'll proc here on a heavy attack. Oh, it does. Look how cool that is. Going into stealth. That's a cool passive. Next up, we have the Lover. So in here you have regeneration. Increases your stamina regeneration up to 25%. Increases your health regeneration. Not that good because I don't really focus in on health regeneration too much. And then it also increases your magic regeneration by 25%. Lastly, increases the amount of magic and stamina your heavy attacks restore up to 15.8%. So the debate between reduced spell cost and or stamina cost versus regeneration, something to think about before investing in this is, number one, I like regeneration because it's on all the time. So if I'm stunned, I'm still going to regenerate stamina or magicka. If I cast an ability, the reduced cost kicks in, but I think stamina regeneration and or magic regeneration is better than reduced cost. Now I'm sure someone will argue with me, but that's just kind of my thought because it's always on per se. So grants a 10% chance to double your yield, normal resources. Like I said, some of these passives are utility based. But one that I really think is valuable and what I will be investing in is gain 2 ultimate anytime you activate a synergy. Since ultimate has changed, it's really hard to gain it unnaturally. So this right here is a massive passive. It only takes 30 points to get. I'll be going after this right away. Master Gatherer reduces your time by 50%, whatever. And then Wind Runner increases your movement percent by 2%. This applies to all type of movements, and then also you increase your health and magic regeneration by 10% while in sprinting. So what I can imagine people doing is building a Sork, a Wind Runner Sork, with 2% movement speed, and then also using the Steed Mundus Stone, and maybe even using a piece of gear. I think there's a medium piece, like Cyrodiil's Light, or Cyrodiil's, what is it called? Cyrodiil's something that increases your horse movement speed. So if you had these combinations together, you would be zipping around the battlefield. So this is why the champion system is so cool. You can make such unique builds. And the Windrunner, let's check this out. I don't think 2% will be that noticeable. Let's cast some magic here. And as you see, look at my magic regeneration while I'm sprinting. That's a cool passive. So pair that up with the Steed Mundus Stone, and you're going to be flying. The last tree in the Thief Constellation is the Tower. So this is the reduced cost version. Reduce magic cost, reduce stamina cost of bashing, reduce stamina cost of the spells and abilities by 15%. Now, it's debatable what you'd rather take here first. I'm personally going to go the other route, but I can see where people wouldn't, and reduces the cost of sprinting. First passive grants a 33% chance to reduce an enemy's movement speed by 20%. When you hit them with a bash, that's pretty powerful. Increases inspiration you gain, so crafters might like this tree. When killed, heal all allies in an 8-meter radius for 3,200. That's kind of interesting, but I don't plan on dying a whole lot. And then War Mount. Increases your mastery of mounts, removing all stamina cost outside of combat, meaning you can just sprint around indefinitely. So that's kind of cool, passive. So let's see if we can't take this. Got my little horsey here. And I'm holding down the sprint. I've smashed that shift key, and I can keep on sprinting and riding indefinitely. So that's a cool passive if you want to travel around maybe Cyrodiil or even questing and want to get around faster. Last but certainly not least, we have the Mage Constellation, or Blue. And here we got the Apprentice, the Atronach, and the Ritual. Basically, this is where you're going to be doing your heavy damage-based passives. So the Apprentice is more the magic users, the Ritual is more of your stamina based users, and the Atronach is kind of how your weapon and that sort of thing. So let's go into each of these and talk about it. But if you want to do damage, this is the constellation you'll be putting points. First up, we have the Ritual. So this is somewhere I plan on spending a lot of my points as a stamina-based user. The reason why, you got increases critical damage of your physical attacks. So that determines how hard you crit, kind of like the Shadow Mundus Stone. So my one-shot Willy build that I use, I plan on using this, a lot of points in this, the Shadow Mundus Stone, and the Archer's Mindset. So when I critical out of stealth, it is literally a one-shot. I can't even pronounce this thing, but increases your damage with poison, disease, and magic attacks. So this is kind of cool if you have a poison-based, like, lethal arrow build, and you compare it with that Defiler passive that we showed you earlier. Piercing. Increases the amount of armor your physical attacks ignore by 1%, or all the way up to 25%. So pair that with some armor reduction debuffs and or weapon glyphs, and then you're going to strip that person naked. Mighty. Increases your physical damage done by 25%. I think this is going to be the passive to aim for because it's just physical damage over the board. Now, the best passives in this are increases the damage of your next physical attack by 15% after your target. Not so good. This is the passive you have to have. Increases your weapon critical rating by 12%. You have to spend 30 points in here as a stamina user right away to get this passive. Now, I guess you shouldn't, you don't have to, but I can see most people doing that. At 75, increases your damage against off-balance enemies by 10%. Pair that up with some of the Nightblade passives and the Dagger passives, and you're going to do a lot of damage to off-balance enemies. Last Stand, I really like this 120 point passive. Grants major heroism. Basically, when you drop below 20% health, you increase your ultimate game by 3 every 1.5 seconds for 8 seconds. I can see people using this, using spell symmetry and then attacking a chicken to basically get their ultimate up out of combat. Zos, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I gave that little secret out, but this is a really good passive for those that want to push it when they're about to die. Up next, we got the Atronach. So this is in between here. This is more of your how to increase damage with light or heavy attack for certain weapons. So heavy weapons like axes and maces, like big old two-hander things, you got that here. You got bows, self-explanatory, blades, staves. So you're going to want to come here probably second and then upgrade your particular weapon that you do damage with here. The passives here increases the damage of your next physical attack by 30 after blocking a heavy attack. That's pretty good for PvE, especially with those telegraph attacks. Reposit, when blocking, grants a 15% chance to return 3,000 damage when you block a melee attack. That's really powerful, especially in PvP if you're block casting a lot. The Butcher, light and heavy attacks, weapons deal extra 5% damage to targets below 25% health. That's really good on an Executioner type playstyle, especially if you're using the two-hander Executioner ability. Then Tactician. Set enemies off balance when you successfully roll dodge to avoid their attack. That's kind of a cool little passive that you can use to pair up some of the other off-balance passives, do massive damage. You're basically suckering in an enemy, dodge rolling out, and then just boom, hitting with a heavy attack. So I can see something set up with this 120 point passive. But this is kind of the weaker of the three trees in my opinion. Last but certainly not least, we have the Apprentice. This is your basically magic-based damage dealers. So it also has increases flame, frost, shock damage. Maybe you're running a Dunmer or Dragonite. This would be an amazing thing to put points into. Increases your spell critical damage and healing by up to 25%. So healers and or damage dealers want to max this out right away. Increases the effective of any healing you initiate. So another really powerful healing one. And then increases the amount of spell resistance your spell ignore. That's kind of like the physical penetration. So this kind of mirrors the other physical tree, if you will. Grants you your next spell will be a critical hit after you block 3 spells. That's not that good. But you have the 30 point passive. Increases your spell critical by 12%. So these are going to be the things that you really want to hit right away. Moving on, reduces the magic cost of your next spell by 80% after you drink a potion. That's pretty powerful, considering you're going to be chugging down a lot of potions in patch 1.6. So this is a good sustained passive to go after, and then one of the best passives in the game. Gives you 20% chance when you kill an enemy of opening an arcane well, which restores basically 1,000 magic to you and nearby allies. I don't know why I left click out of that. In a 2.5 meter radius. So imagine this in PvP when you're killing a lot of enemies. There's going to be wells everywhere, and staying in the wells and restoring magic is going to be amazing in PvP. So this is a must-have 120 point passive for magic users, in my opinion. Okay, now that we've gone over everything, I want to give you my tips and or tricks, what I've learned with the champion system, and how to apply this to build your character. First off, what you want to do is max out one of each of the trees right away first. And when I say max out, I mean get at least 120 points to get those important passives. The reason being, if you mix up your points in this tree, and this tree, and this tree, you're going to miss out on some valuable passives right away that can make it a game changer in your build. I highly recommend going fully on to get 120 points at least in one tree, then move on to another. So if I were to build, let's say, a melee physical damage dealer, like my Blazing Harvester build, roughly around 90 points is when you can start getting 3 of those important passives. So we're going to start with about 70 points. Probably a week or two in, you'll get 90, and that's kind of what I'm going to center my build around. That's a really important mark to hit, 90 champion points. After that, the next important mark is 360. Why? Because now you can hit 120 in each of the 3 champion constellations. Then you get those important 120 point passives. So let's talk about how I'm going to build a character. Let's just assume it's been a year or so and I got 320 points. So the first thing I'm going to do as a physical damage dealer, I want to get increases your weapon critical by 12%. So the most important thing I'm going to go after is some points in here. That's mighty. I'm going to spend 30 points right off the top getting this. Now, instead of continue to increase this, I'm going to go somewhere else to get more damage because I have diminishing returns. So if I spend 70 more points in here, I'm not going to get as much advantageous as if I do 30 here, and I do 30 here, and even 40, 40, 40, mix it up. Now that's going to give me my 120 point passive. So that's the first tree I'm going to max out. So, champion point, the thing to know about champion points is once you get 1 point, remember, it goes into another pool. So it goes blue, red, green, or however it works. So you're not going to be able to spend 360 champion points in just blue. You're going to have to find a red tree. So for me, I'm building a physical damage dealer that is focused on PvP. And so for me, I'm going to spend my time in this tree here. Let's see. So it reduces fire effects. I'm going to pump 100 points into this because I'm going to play as a vampire. I think that's really important. Then also I'm going to put 20 points into this so I can reduce some of the poison and magic damage to me. That's going to give me that important passive Unchained. And also critical leech, resilience, and then spell absorption. So this is a 120 point passive that I think you must have if you're a PvPer and or a stamina user. So that's how I spend that. Now, the one that I like is the regeneration tree here, because it also does have the synergizer. So what I'm going to do, I don't like these other ones so much, so I'm going to put 60 points into Mooncap, and then, well, let's go 100, and then 20 in Tenacity. So if I need stamina back, I can do a heavy attack and get some stamina. Spend that. Now I get that Synergize, give me some ultimate. Now I get Wind Running, so I'm going to move faster, and if I do need to get out of combat, I can just sprint and get some more magic to do some more self-healing. So that's kind of how I would build my character starting out. Try to invest in those passives first. It's not effective to do something like this, where you put 10 here, 20 there, and then you go 20 here, and then you go, because you're missing out on all those passives, and that's what separates the really good builds. Okay. So now that we kind of got an idea of what to build and how, I'm going to talk to you about some of the trees that you must go into. So the apprentice here, this is really the healer and or spell damage tree. If you're a healer or you're magic-based DPS, you must invest in this tree. If you're a physical damage dealer, you must invest in the ritual. Highly recommend it. Leave the Atronach for last because it's a weapon-based damage dealer thing. I wouldn't invest too many points into here. Moving on. The warrior trees, you got some really good ones with some health and damage shield. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to build a Dragon Knight that blocked a lot. I would come over here and go block expertise and try to unlock that. Because then I'm going to get some invigorating bash, shield expert. So if I was going to build a PvP Dragon Knight, I would go 60 points here, 60 points here, life's good. The lady, this is really interesting, especially if you play a vampire and reduces your flame and shock damage shield to you. And resilience and some of these critical leech, super powerful. But also the Lord is a really good one too. Determination, if you're a potion drinker like an Argonian or something, you could make a really interesting build here, making basically potions more effective. So pair that up with the alchemy passive, this is a really good tree to invest in. And then you got the shadows and stuff. So the thief trees have some utility stuff in them. Some of them are not as impressive as the others, but I really like the lover because that's synergized. I really think that's going to be a powerful passive. But there's other ones that are good too. So if I were building a character, once again, focus on getting the passives. And you could even do 30, 30, 30, 30 and get a bunch of 30 passes. But the 120 passes are really going to be valuable, important for you. So I know this is a long video. We went over a lot. I hope this helps. The champion system is deep. It's complex. There's a lot to it. However, this introduction guide maybe get you comfortable with it. And just like anything, you got to play around with it for a bit. On my website, I'm going to update the current champion system stuff. So I imagine these passes will change. This is on the PTS, by the way. So this isn't even the final, if you will. So if you want to find out what's the current in-game passives, come to my site, deltiusgaming.com. Other than that, I appreciate you guys watching. Please leave me comments. What do you guys think are some important passives to get? Did you like this video? Why or why not? And I will make more guides in the champion system as I understand it more, especially in my builds. I'll be adding that to my builds. Thanks for watching.